Hi, folks. Today is August 14th. It's Friday. It's the end of a week. We're going to do a quick review here of performance for today. This is based on the adaptive entry system here in the live trading room. Today ended up being a day where your perception throughout the day is it's a little sluggish, it's a little choppy, but there was a lot of choppiness that resulted in trend bias trades that gave us some pretty nice opportunity. So we're going to take a look here at the daily summary, and I'm going to start over here this morning, taking all signals. The challenge today, and this is variable within the adaptive entry system. The challenge today were more associated with a consensus and momentum signal. So if we'd taken all the signals this morning, 9:30 to noon, we were down 10 points for the day. So that's not huge. It's a losing day for us, but it's not huge. So that's down 10 points and on 12 contracts, 12 trades, sorry. So I'm going to go ahead and plug that information in. We're going to close out our 6th week of tracking. So down 10 points is $200. It's $20 a point, and we're trading 3 contracts. So it's a negative $600 for today, and we traded 12 trades, so that's 36 contracts. So that accounts for then a losing day of $744. So we don't like that, but we've had a few losing days in the last week or so. It is indicative of some of that choppiness that we've talked about in the market, but we're still averaging over 16 points a day. That is a blended average of the losing days and the winning days. And based on that, I'm going to actually lower our winning day forecast from 21 points to 20 points. I'm going to leave our losing day forecast at 16.20. Actually, no, that's not true. I'm going to adjust it to 17. So we have 4 days a week for the rest of the 12-month period planned at 20 days, 20 points average, and 1 day a week we plan a losing day, which we now have based on real performance planned at 1 day a week minus 17 points. So taking our actual performance for the first 6 weeks since we've been profiling this in the live trading room and forecasting out for the remaining 12 months at those excuse me, 1 second. Sorry about that. At those numbers, positive and negative numbers, and then using a 3 contract max. So you know by now, if you've been following along, that we start with $5,000 in the account and we allocate up to no more than 10% of our account balance to contracts. Each contract requires $500 of margin. So if we're trading 1 contract, that means we are allocating $500 of margin. If we're trading 3 contracts, it requires $1,500 of margin. In order to be at 10% or less, we need to have 15,000 in the account in order to trade 3 contracts, which will require 1,500. So that is a governor right there that is a conservative governor of how we allocate to contracts. And then this is another conservative governor, which you can say, I don't want it to just exponentially increase to an infinite number of contracts. I want to max it out at 3 contracts or whatever you choose. So based on a future forecast of 20 and minus 17, our actual average wins and losses is 16.68. Those are points. Each point is worth $20. Then 3 contracts gets us to $195,000 of income over the course of a year. Now, if you've been watching that forecasted income decrease over the last couple of weeks, it's because we've layered in some losing trades. That is a reality of trading. But here's the thing. You have a very conservative approach here with 10% of your account balance allocated to contracts. You're capping it out at 3. If you feel comfortable and confident with being able to achieve a 16.68 point average on a daily basis, which is a blended average between winning and losing trades, you could decide that you want to increase your potential income by adjusting your contracts. If you took that up to 5 contracts, which would be a maximum number you would trade, and the only way you would get to 5 contracts is as long as that is less than 10% of the capital in the account, then you can dramatically influence what your future what your income is over the course of 12 months. So you're in control of that number. It has to be based on reality though, not pie in the sky. I mean, you can make that number whatever you want, but these numbers right here, the positive 20 and the minus 17, must absolutely be based on reality and be based on what your actual experience is. It doesn't matter what your experience is. What matters is that you are forecasting according to that experience, and that is what's going to tell you what your potential income is over a 12-month period. So you can make it 5, you can make it 10, you can make it whatever you want. I'm going to leave it at 3. That's what we've been tracking as a max. I think that that's very conservative. I also think that if you were able to go from a $5,000 account and just kind of follow the math and science of this forecast and get to $195,000 after 12 months, I think that's a pretty reasonable growth. So we're doing that one trade at a time using the adaptive entry system. Now, what was really fun today was the category that we track, which is trading only, trading not all signals, but trading only the trend signals. So in the trend signals, we have trend bias entries, and then we added this week the trend continuation signals. We taught those in the futures trading course. We taught them in the adaptive entry system training, but we started adding them this week. We've been working on our tracking tool here. And we always knew it was going to have a more significant impact, but this week has really profiled that. We've had some challenging, choppy days, and I would say today was one of those days. We've had challenging, choppy days, but today was one of those days where we dramatically increased our profit and earning potential simply by also leveraging the continuation trades. We did 125 points today. That's between 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. This is a first, too. This is an unusual day. I do not want to present this as though this is the norm. This is an unusual day. We did not have a losing trade today on the trend or continuation signals. Those are the only signals this category tracks. You can scroll back through here and you can see there has been one other time, I think, maybe a time before that. No, there have been 2 other times. I misspoke. There have been 2 other times that we've had 100% winning days. So I just want to be very clear. I'm not presenting this as that being the norm. Not at all. We generally average over the big picture somewhere in the mid 70% range, but today was a gangbuster day. If you followed every trend signal and every continuation signal is 125 points, and 125 points at $20 a point is $2,500. So we come over to our trading plan and we go over to our entry and we're trading 3 contracts. So that's $7,500. And I've got to double check the number of trades. The number of trades was 17 trades. So 17 times 3 contracts per trade was 51 contracts. And so that gives us a $7,296 net profit for the day after fees and commissions. So our average across winning and losing days combined is 27.75. We didn't add to our losing days, so I'm going to stick with the average that we had established before. That assumes 1 losing day a week. How many losing days have we had so far in this category? We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over a 6-week period. So we're a little bit favorable to our run rate of anticipated 1 losing day a week. We're a little bit favorable, but the average across those 5 losing days is minus 15.4 points, and we just increased our average in terms of positive production. So I'm going to put that at 28. And so now, based on the reality of the average between the two, and this is probably a little understated, we're going to break that down for you in the future. We're going to break it down so that you can see the actual positive average and the actual negative average. But this is a reasonable estimate, if not conservative. So going forward, based on 6 weeks behind us, 28 points positive, 15.4 points negative on our losing days, maximum contracts 3, 308,000 is the potential income. And of course, as I said, you can adjust that to 4, you can adjust that to 5, whatever you want. So if you leave it at 3, and we were to say, from today is August 14th, if we just went out to 9/14, for example, 1 month, that's where we should be if we continue at this rate. So I'm pretty happy, particularly with the trend and trend bias performance today. Let's jump over to our averages before we close out. So here's our trend bias only, and we're averaging 38.67 points a day. Now, I want to be really clear that that average in the first 5 weeks only included the trend bias signals, did not include the trend bias, or the continuation signals. So this week it includes the continuation signals. So I have a sense from what I'm seeing that that average is going to continue to grow. Our overall win-loss ratio right now is 72.4%, still pretty reasonable. We average about 10.5 trades a day. I think that average is going to increase because we're adding the continuation signals. In the other category, although we've had a period over the last 6 days or so where we've had 3 or 4 losing days, still overall average between 9:30 and noon is about 25.75 points, and we've got about a 75% win rate there. So again, one of the values of the trading plan is being able to plug the data in at the end of our trading day and say, where does my actual performance take me over a 12-month period? So rather than having to look at it today, I'm euphoric because it looks so good, and then I'm depressed on Monday because it doesn't look good. Let's get out of that game. That is really an emotional roller coaster that nobody needs to be on. I've been on it before, early days of trading. Most traders have experienced it, and so now what we need to focus on is just simply, where does this day's performance fit into my plan, and where does this day's performance fit into my overall projected income for a 12-month period. So we continue to evolve the tracking here. Aaron's inserted a really nice feature. There were some questions in the live trading room today. For example, I can only trade between 9 and 11:30, and I can just simply change the starting time and the ending time and see what that performance is. So 9 to 11:30 is 25 points. That's about 75%, very close, very similar here. But I'll just give you one example. If you only wanted to trade trend bias, not starting at 7 o'clock, but starting at 9:30 in the morning and trade till 4, you could see that it's averaging just under 28 points a day with about a 76% win rate. So that's a really nice feature right now because it gives us a lot of flexibility to help you understand how to properly plan your own personal trading business and what time of day, what time frames you want to trade, as well as what strategy you want to use. We've got some other categories down here we're starting to break down. I've got them labeled as researching. We're not even going to talk about those right now because we're just wanting to gather some data, and eventually we'll incorporate that into our profiling for you. Somebody commented today that, geez, these momentum signals, I'm not sure about them. I completely understand that because it is frequently a counter trend signal. But I will just point out that trading momentum signals from 7 to 4 for the last 9 weeks has shown a 21-point average. So 21 points a day is pretty reasonable if that's the only thing you want to take. I'll finish up with this thought. If somebody were to ask me, what should I trade if I'm just starting out? Yeah, I don't want to learn all the signals right now. I don't want to have to try to remember all the rules. I don't want to focus on all that. I don't want to be stressed. I want to just learn and make it simple. I would absolutely focus primarily on the trend signal. I would focus on the trend signal and the continuation signals. Trends are very easy to spot. It is the second blue bar in a new series or the second red bar in a new series. That blue bar says you're going to go long. That red bar says you're going to go short. It's very, very, very simple to identify those. When you want to take a continuation trade, if you are in a short trend and the cycle finder plus crosses down, the blue line crosses down below the red line at any point in the range, that is a continuation trade, and it offers some really nice opportunities. So that's the end of the week. That's the end of the review. Hope you've been following along and understanding the power of the adaptive entry system and how profitable it can be. Being profitable doesn't mean we don't have losing days or series of losing days. It just simply means that it is overall producing a pretty darn good performance. So here's trend bias again. We had 2 back-to-back losing days back here last week. They don't feel very good. We come into this week, we haven't had any losing days. We've had a lot of winning days, and we just take the overall average, and that's what we focus on. So have a great weekend, folks. Hope to see you back here on Monday with us trading in the live trading room.